It's 9 a.m. Oh, here. It's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles, and it is the 18th of September. It's Thursday. It's the Women's Forum tonight, ladies. 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. It's 2025 AD. Okay? Don't get it twisted. That's a black word, right? Isn't it? Isn't that black? Don't get it twisted. We're going to have a fun loosey-goosey, the Hake Report show. Shout out to the blacks. You can call in 1-888-775-3773. And I will get to your super chats as well. Okay? Thank you, guys. I did see some of them come in. Shout out to, let me read this one. Shall I read it? Yeah. Over on the Rumble crew. The reason we have irresponsible parents, says Pork Chop Express in a Rumble rant, quoting Hake, is because we've funded them not to be responsible, unquote. Perfect statement yesterday, Hake. Ronnie, like not all, but most blacks just wants your money. says Pork Chop Express. Or wants the money for the single mothers and the children. We take care of children. It takes a village to raise a child. What a mess. And I do see your calls lining up, filling up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pork Chop. By the way, speaking of Rumble rants, there was a Rumble rant yesterday that I missed from Celestial Lord saying the grandfather of the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk gave the rifle, to his sons. Or sons, not sure. Meaning the father of the, one of the sons being the father, if the grandfather has multiple sons. The father of the murderer, alleged murderer. And it looks like the murderer's father gave it to the murderer. The murderer clearly recognized the rifle as his grandfather's, or the father did. And the father is covering one less charge, says Celestial Lord. Interesting, Celestial Lord. I don't know. You may be on to something that I'm well behind on. I'm uninformed on a lot of things, which is technically called ignorant. I am ignorant. And blacks say, they think of ignorant as a bad thing. It's not bad to be ignorant. But know that you're ignorant. Not thinking that you're not ignorant. That's where it gets kind of bad. So the views expressed on this show do not represent those of Hake. I don't even represent myself. Bond, JLP, I'll get to your coffees as well, guys. I do see Gregatron, Popcorn, Ronnie. Y'all super chatting in over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. But take everything that you hear and think and see and read with a grain of salt, Seriously. Shout out. Thank you, Popcorn Express. What's up? Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson, Pastor Chatelet, rating the stream. What's up, Old Saucy Buddy 1205? You monthly supporters there. Thank you, Lord Spike Protein, promoting the Rumble channel over on the YouTube live chat. What's up, Bibby? And Chris. Hello to you all, guys. Hey, nice. So you can call it. What's up, Rita? Over on the Facebook crew. You are welcome to call in 1-888-775-3773. Let's start to get ready, shall we? I think I'm cracked. I'm growing. I think I'm just about ready to get going here, right? Almost. Lord have mercy. Oh, funny. Nice. So, Lord have mercy. Let's check out the beach. Wow, nice. So anyway, guys, that's the only thing I don't like necessarily about playing from YouTube is sometimes when I started it, or sometimes it gets sort of jittery. But let's just get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hague Report. The Hague Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hague Report. The Hague Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hague Report. The Hague Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hague Report. The Hague Report. La la la.
Oh no! I forgot to go. Hey guys! Terrible. My bad. A mess. That's what happens when you try it. There's no such thing, they say, as multitasking. They say that women can do it better than men. But, I'm sorry, Cesar. Cesar is my director, my video director. So, nice. Nice. So, Antifa, as Trump used to call them, Antifa has become somewhat full-blown, about to be designated as terrible terrorist. By the way, catch JLP on Punchy TV yesterday. That was a fun episode. Look at these guys. I'm getting the side eye from Derek. But anyway, Antifa is being designated a terrorist organization, but oddly, CNN, I don't think they mentioned that. Let's find out. Who all has acknowledged this in my morning updates? Antifa. Nope. Not on CNN. Antifa. Nope. Not on the far left female run outlet, the Skib. Antifa. Wait, is this the right one? September 4th? How did that happen? What did I just open? Morning Brew. Why? Okay. No. I'm confused. Did I really do that? Hold on. Where am I? Oh, hold on. Hang on. September 4th? Where am I? Oh, yeah. Never mind. That's interesting. That's funny. Okay. Sorry about that. Pardon me, the strange interlude. I'm opening the old news from weeks ago. Of course, they're not going to mention Antifa there. Let's find out. Okay. Let's do this again. Antifa. Nope. Antifa. Wait, where's Antifa? Is it there? Hold on. Antifa. Nope. Antifa. Nope. By the way, the Morning Brew says it's national. This is gross to me. And I actually like this food item, but it just seems gross. National Cheeseburger Day. It just sounds degenerate. Or at least decadent, you know? Not a good thing. You know, they've changed the word decadent to mean like delicious instead of like a step above degenerate. And that looks gross, actually. Look, they put ketchup, gross, mustard, nasty, or which is too flavorful. Pickles, sick. You guys can have them. I ate them one time. Hamburgers are the most popular American dish. How are you going to call that a dish? Topping it with your favorite cheese. blah, 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, they don't mention, Morning Brew didn't mention Antifa? Only the far left Antifa sympathizers, AP, in the Morning Wire, say Antifa president. This is in their top headlines by Sarah Naffa. Are they Antifa sympathizers? I'm just speaking sort of very sloppily, okay? I don't know by reading them necessarily, because I don't read them that much, AP, that AP is actually pro-Antifa or sympathizers to Antifa. I just know that they're Trump haters. They're male feminists or female feminists in the case of Sarah, if she's a female, and if she's a feminist. I'm not actually sure about her specifically. But their outlet is definitely believes in that equality mess and credulously uses the term racist, which basically makes them sound like Antifa sympathizers. Okay, but I do disclaim what I just said. I don't know. President Donald J. Trump says he will designate Antifa as a terrorist group, a major terrorist organization, right? So let's find that. President Trump stated early Thursday. I thought it was yesterday. I heard about it yesterday, I feel like. But anyway, he probably said it Thursday too early, that he plans to designate Antifa as a major terrorist organization. Unclear how the administration would label what effectively is a decentralized movement, they call it. Oh yeah, you're basically as a terrorist organization. It has a whole bunch of cells, independent cells, so-called independent. They all answer to Satan in their minds. And the White on the Inside White House on Wednesday did not immediately offer more details. Antifa, short for anti-fascist. Oh yeah, I guess this is Antifa propaganda, right? Is an umbrella term for far left, at least they admit that it's far left leaning, militant groups, and is not a singular entity, says AP. They consist of groups that resist fascists and neo-Nazis. Not only fascists and neo-Nazis, and what do you mean by resist? You mean fight and physically attack and berate, with verbally berate and verbally abuse and racially abuse, if you're a British, especially at demonstrations. They don't just go after so-called fascists and so-called neo-Nazis. They call everybody a fascist and a neo-Nazi. They call normies fascists and neo-Nazis. They say something like no borders, no walls, no USA at all. They're anti-American. They think America is fascist. So calm down, you far-left AP. I'm going back to their Antifa sympathizers. AP is Antifa. AP, a terrorist fake media outlet. No, I don't know. I mean, that may be too far. But they kind of... Anyway, Trump's on the state visit to the UK, United Kingdom, made the announcement on a social media post shortly before 1:30 a.m. Thursday local time. Oh, okay. So it was yesterday our time, early this morning UK time, because they're like what, 8 hours ahead of us, right? We're both on daylight time right now. We switched daylight savings times at different days of the month, I think. He called Antifa a, quote, all caps, sick, dangerous, radical left disaster. He also stated he will be strongly recommending that the funders of Antifa be investigated. Very nice. Antifa is also a domestic entity and as such is not a candidate for inclusion on the State Department lists of foreign terror organizations, right, the domestic terrorists. There's no domestic equivalent to that list, in part because of broad First Amendment protections enjoyed by organizations operating within the United States. And despite periodic calls, particularly after mass shootings by so-called white supremacists, to establish a domestic terrorism law, no singular statute now exists. Interesting. So if Trump were to do it, are there people saying, oh no, that's a setup, they're going to come after us now afterwards, after Trump is out of office, and he probably even while he's in office, the evil powers that be will go after the decent people. What a mess. So that's Antifa. Watch out, Antifa. I bet you a lot of them are foreigners. Immigrants, anchor-baby children of immigrants. I hear that a lot of them are professors. Certainly, they're not typically Christians. And then there's some Antifa people who are so-called peaceful, but they sort of provide cover for non-peaceful, for the non-peaceful, the evil ones. You know, just like I saw this clip, and I don't know if I played it yesterday. I don't think I did. About something that Chad O. Jackson was doing with exposing evil, what's his name? MLK. Did I not play enough of that clip, that MLK clip? Because he was talking about MLK being a communist, and this guy from Heritage Foundation was like, no, he said he's not. He said it's not in line with Christianity. Well, he wasn't very Christian. He was more like Antifa, Marxist, communist. And he was providing cover. There was a clip that he played in which it's a very famous line to me lately, that MLK justified riots as the language of the unheard or something dumb like that. And then I used that to refer to the January 6ers because the Trump supporters are the marginalized and the unheard, right? Largely, oftentimes. What a mess, huh? Whew. Crazy. Antifa versus Trump versus AP. Okay, so Antifa, so-called peaceful sympathizers, like MLK. I wonder if I have that handy. Whoa. Let me just see. Before I get to your calls, I don't think I do. Oops. Oh, no, I hit refresh. Okay. MLK? No. Chad O? Let me go to... Let me go to yesterday's show. Chad O. What? MLK. Oh. That was a couple of days ago, maybe. You know what? I can easily find it right here. Chad O. on MLK. This might be worth playing one more time. He is our resident historian. Nice. Hey, it's not. Hey, here it comes. In the world. Why does it not want to play? That's interesting.
My appearance on Ali Beth Stuckey's show, Delano Squires took to X to voice his criticisms. And one of his critiques was actually very interesting. He said something to the effect that Martin Luther King was not a communist because he said communism and Christianity are irreconcilable. I, of course, responded by saying, you have to understand that we were in the middle of a Cold War where most Americans were hostile to communism as an ideology. And as a result of this, Dr. King, who himself was a Marxist, tried to publicly dispel accusations that he was a communist because he understood that if America believed that he was a communist, he would not be effective in his efforts and in his agenda to push communism. The phraseology that King used, which Delano is accrediting to King as a reason why King was not a communist, is in fact phraseology that King lifted, plagiarized from Robert J. McCracken, who wrote this 1951 book called Questions People Ask, which for me raises the question, if you are truly not a communist, why not use your own words to say so? Why plagiarize someone else's?
I remember the clip. Let's finish watching this since it might be obnoxious for me to interrupt this clip and not play it, the rest of it. But you guys know that I'm obnoxious, and some of you guys like me for it. But anyway.
That seems a bit disingenuous to me. What Delano Squires does in response to this, he goes onto the Stanford website, screenshots some citations that are at the bottom of the page, and it's cropped in such a way that it looks like King did in fact cite his sources.
No,
Not so fast. I actually have in my possession the 4th volume of the MLK papers. I actually have all 7 volumes. I've read them quite extensively. And I want...
Little pro tip, don't go to a different tab while the Instagram is playing. It's not like X, where you can go to a different tab and it'll keep playing.
To direct your attention to page 32.
Sorry, Chad.
And what it says here is that in addition to soliciting materials from associates, King also appropriated text and ideas from unacknowledged sources, a practice that he had used to compose many of his sermons and graduate school papers. In the chapter tracing his pilgrimage to nonviolence, King adopted phrases and illustrations from an essay by a prominent and well-respected minister to explain his own early attraction to and ultimate rejection of Marx. So what does that mean? Those citations in that screenshot that Delano posted were actually added years after King's assassination, not by King, but by the editorial staff for the King papers that were donated to Stanford University. That same editorial staff admits, as I just read, that King did not acknowledge McCracken, that he did not acknowledge his sources in order to present himself as somebody who is a highbrow intellectual. And I explained to Delano that one cannot really make sense of the things that are being said in terms of King's Marxism without first understanding how subversion works. I love Delano Squires. This is not to bash him or anything like that. It's just presenting the facts. We can go facts for facts, and that's what it's about.
Nice.
Shortly after my appearance on Ali Beth Stuckey's show, Delano Squires took to X to voice his criticism.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Chado Jackson. In short, MLK was just paying lip service to his not being a commie, when in fact he was. Or in practice, right? De facto communist. This is the other clip from Chad O. Jackson on Charlie Kirk versus MLK, because this is where MLK says a riot is the language or a voice or something of the unheard. Well, you can hear the quote for yourself.
Kirk on the same footing is an erroneous thing to do. King and Kirk
I don't
on
like
the
this.
same. Put King and Kirk.
He said to put King and Kirk, meaning Martin Luther King Jr., originally born Michael King Jr., and Charlie Kirk on the same footing is erroneous.
On the same footing is an erroneous thing to do. While Kirk actually lived out the values that he talked about publicly, Dr. King did not. We know that Dr. King was involved in orgies, he liked to sleep with prostitutes, and that according to his best friend Ralph Abernathy, he even beat up a few women. While Charlie Kirk believed in the fundamental tenets of the Christian faith and the virgin birth, that Jesus resurrected from the dead, and the literal existence of heaven and hell, Dr. King didn't believe in any of those things according to his very own writings. We also know that there was a philosophical difference between the two men when it comes to Marxism. Now, while it is true that both men denounced Marxism in public, unlike King, Charlie never advocated for a redistribution of wealth, for social justice. These are things that King did advocate for. And so it's safe to say that when Kirk denounced Marxism, he was being honest and truthful, whereas when King denounced Marxism, he was being a deceptive liar.
Yep.
Finally, when King was assassinated in 1968, there were a flurry of riots that took place across the country, whereas it's now been a few days since Kirk's assassination, and we haven't seen any riots at all. This is a testament to the truth and conviction behind the words that Charlie Kirk spoke compared to the sophistry behind the words that Martin Luther King spoke. I would add that although Charlie Kirk and Dr. King were both heavily involved in the political realm, their approach to politics was also strikingly different. Charlie Kirk advocated for people to get right with Christ, for men to step up and be men, for women to be virtuous women of honor. He believed that the government has run amok and we must begin to roll back a lot of that overgrowth in order that we might get back to the true edicts of the Constitution. Whereas King believed that we should expand the role of government, that the government should have a foothold when it comes to things like housing, jobs, and wealth redistribution. The so-called ministers who have taken up the baton after King's passing are apostates, race hustlers, and opportunists. They thrive on race division and conflict. They anger their own people and keep them bitter and poor while they enrich themselves. Meanwhile, I see videos of young men in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death saying, I've never been to church before, but I feel inclined now to go to church because that's the kind of thing that Charlie Kirk talked about. I feel inclined to be a better husband, to be a better man, to be a better friend, because that's the kind of person that Charlie Kirk was. This is a testament to fruit. Charlie Kirk was a producer of good fruit, while Dr. King was a producer of bad fruit. None of this is to make light of Dr. King's death. Anytime somebody takes a bullet to the head or neck, it's a tragedy. And my hope for King was that he repented. But we know that the night before he was assassinated, he slept with 2 women and beat up another woman. And so it's hard to say, while Charlie Kirk took a bullet to the neck while educating college students on what is real versus what is false. To put King...
Oh, I thought that he said the riot is the language of the unheard. Where did I hear that? What a mess. But thank you, Chad O. Jackson. Nice. Anyway, let me get to your calls, everybody. Thanks for bearing with me. Shout out. Terry in Oregon is on the line over here. Terry, thank you for calling and holding. What's up?
First.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I wanted to call about this Trump Antifa thing.
Yeah.
And where do I want to start? Well, the first thing I want to do is complain about my local city government. I think yesterday or the
Portland,
day before,
Oregon?
the city of Portland.
Terrible.
Yeah, it is. These
What's your
people
complaint?
are so wicked.
PDX.
So the mayor says he's going to be charging the local ICE facility with violations, like 25 or 26 violations, something like that, of like orders basically and arrangements that they've made with the city in order to operate in the city bounds. So apparently one of those is that they can't keep people overnight in their facility. They have to be transferred. And as you know, the facility's been under like siege every night for months now. So I'm not surprised they've had difficulty with transporting people. You know, it just makes sense that you would. Like, how are you going to transport people safely when you've got a mob outside that are like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Antifa or whoever, the pro-illegal radicals, have been harassing ICE and trying to prevent them from doing their job of deporting the illegals?
Yeah, it's been, and for months. It's been like
I had no
over
idea.
100 days. There's been assaults. A couple of journalists have been assaulted there.
CNN didn't tell me this.
Well, yeah, CNN wouldn't tell you this. You got to get in the underground, Hake.
Yeah, I guess so.
Got to be on X 24/7.
Man. Okay.
So yeah, the mayor, but he's like thanking citizens for reporting these violations. But the citizens he's thanking, the mayor, were basically, you know, the Antifa protesters that have been like storming and harassing the ICE building and workers there. So it's a hot mess. But the city government, like, they're finding all these ways to like subvert justice, and it's really. It's heartbreaking because, you know, like they're in this community alone. I mean, ICE has busted a number of people. We have like criminals from gangs in, you know, South and Central America trafficking drugs. There's like open air drug markets, and there's so many people that are dying, like just on the sidewalks from overdoses. And there's this total disconnect between the city leadership, who, is also enriching themselves off of the homeless industrial complex.
So it's the mayor is this Keith Wilson guy. It's no longer that Ted Wheeler guy.
Yeah.
And you kind of liked Ted Wheeler, although he was a male Democrat. He wasn't as bad as Keith Wilson is, you're saying. You might say.
I don't think Ted was as bad as Keith Wilson is. No, I don't think. Ted was he used to be a Republican.
Oh.
So he was just kind of a career politician, I feel.
Yeah.
And he is that, he's from the area, and he just established himself over time. He used to be, I think he just kind of went with whatever, would keep, facilitate his rise to power.
Yeah.
And I found him kind of humorous, but no, I don't like this Keith guy at all.
Yeah.
At all. I think he's very corrupt. Very, very corrupt, and he's a new mayor, so to be so corrupt already is really upsetting. He's also been asking local citizens to start volunteering to assist the homeless. When his company that he runs has made so much money building these shelters, and we're dumping all this taxpayer money into the homeless problem.
Wow.
It's people are ticked, to say the least.
Yeah.
So I wonder what kind of. I also wonder what Trump's going to be able to do, really about Antifa, because they are a decentralized organization.
Right.
And
Well, the good thing is they appear in public places, and you kind of know where they're going to be, at least eventually, because they tend to try to occupy places, or they try to show up in places where, Proud Boys hardly are around anymore, but they show up to free speech rallies and try to disrupt and attack people, so.
Yeah, or anything mildly right wing.
Yeah, anything that's
or
right.
That they perceive. I mean, I was at a Christian worship festival last year, and they showed up there.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't I guess it's political because everything is, but it was really surprising to see this group of people. Although most of the people that showed up from Antifa that I saw there were pretty weak, but they did cut the music for a while. They did something to disrupt the sound system from the stage.
That's crazy. So they're anti-Christian.
Of course they are. If they were Christian,
but it's
they
just
would
Christian.
know what's right and wrong.
But Christian music is liberal. They're never satisfied. No matter how liberal or even communist you are, if you're in power, they hate you, right?
Yeah, or I think with Antifa, they have they've taken on a very pro-LGBTQ whatever stance, and they view Christians as a threat to that, because Christians believe in the family and not being totally debased.
Yeah.
So that's a threat, because they want to destroy the family. And I think Christians are kind of the main holdout for defending the nuclear family, at least in the West right now. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's terrible. Shout out. I guess they're Americans, The Americans are brainwashed into this type of thinking.
Yeah. I don't want to recommend anyone on your channel or say anyone, but there's another journalist from this area who's no longer in this area. I think you've mentioned him before on your show. Yeah, he covers them extensively. I was
Yep.
watching something from him, and people were mentioning that there's been Antifa members that have gone to like Syria to study and train with the autonomous zone people there.
Oh.
So a lot of them have military training. So it's like it's just a mess. It's like figuring out how like you're going to go after these people is strange, and then especially since it's ideological, and they have a lot of supporters that maybe aren't involved. A lot of people see them as the good guys because anti-fascist, right? Most people
Right.
don't like fascism. They think it's a bad thing. So
But anti-fascism is even worse.
I know.
I think. At least anti-fascism is actually happening, whereas fascism, you correct me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
is not happening anywhere in the world, or is it? You can tell me.
That's hard to say. No, I don't see fascist, like a proper fascist government happening anywhere.
And
There's definitely people who are ideologically aligned with that
definitely
type of economy and that sort of thing and national identity. And I definitely think, because things are so polarized, it's very easy. I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. These people are making it so that a lot of people are being labeled fascists that aren't.
yeah.
I've been labeled fascist a number of times, which is crazy to me.
What is it crazy that they called is crazy is I have a few questions about fascism.
Mm-hmm.
Is fascism far left? It's just to the right of communism? Or is Bill Lockwood wrong?
I would characterize fascism as being authoritarian right.
Okay.
As opposed to authoritarian left. So it's extreme authoritarian right, like socially.
But it's big government.
Economically, there's, to a certain extent, it's not completely big government. There is capitalism under it, but usually it's characterized by a national sort of project, which, they are socialistic in the sense that they want to create like a kind of welfare system for the people.
Yeah.
But who is defined as a nation is very strict. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because under, communism and like the Soviet Union, like at first it was pretty like crazy, it was very, I'm trying to think like, look at the, political compass. People were, the libertarian left was really stamped out over time because it's not conducive to maintaining any social order, and it became more and more authoritarian right. So, like, in terms of building a national identity, like, you do need to stamp out kind of the libertarian element. So there's similarities between fascism and communism, but I think, like, a big difference is that fascists tend to have more of a they have an extreme nationalist identity.
Yeah.
So, like, what it means to be, like, Italian or German or American, like,
right.
is very strict.
Yeah.
And has a lot to do with, like, race.
Yeah.
And communists are not so concerned with race in terms of establishing a national identity.
Yeah, just to divide and conquer only.
And you know what? The one thing that's interesting about the fascists is a lot of them are into the occult.
Oh.
And like the communists, the Marxists, are total materialists. So like the Nazis had, especially like they had a lot of, especially the like big ones behind the whole creation of the movement, were very into like occult orders, and they believed like the Aryan was a superior
so is occult
spiritual
occult means hidden knowledge. It doesn't necessarily mean Satanism. Is it like paganism occult, or what
Yeah,
is
some
occult?
of it. Yeah, some of it is paganism. I mean,
Because I think of
Western
witchcraft and
occultists,
Satanism, but it's not necessarily that, right?
Western occultists draw from like over the place.
Yeah.
So like with the Nazis, you know, their symbol became like the swastika,
Yeah.
but that was like a symbol really prevalent in like Asia.
So they got it from the India people?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And so, I heard the New York Times, the fake news, the swastika, the pro swastika Hindu type people got mad. This is a side note, that the New York Times promoted the term swastika when it was supposed to be called hooked cross or a Hakenkreuz. And so they're like mad because that's not a swastika, that's a hooked cross or a Hakenkreuz. Our swastika means peace, and theirs is a hooked cross Hakenkreuz, and fake news. New York Times poisoned the word swastika, so you can't be like a good thing anymore. They're all mad. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm kind of like thinking it's interesting because when I think about like what happened to the Soviet Union, like at first it was like really liberal, you know, like they gave women the right to vote, homosexuality was prevalent, you know.
And then they clamped down and killed all those people, huh?
Yeah, they did. They like started putting people back in their place. I mean, women still retained like you know, the right to vote and that kind of thing. Not that it really mattered, but you know what I mean? Like they really did come for kind of the socially liberal.
They've tricked
people.
them. Was it a bait and switch? Was it purposefully bait and switch, or they just were loosey-goosey, and then the next generation is like, this is out of control, we need to clamp down?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. So there's a similarity, like, and in the Soviet Union, I mean, you look, there's similarities. Women got prizes and awards, much like they did in Nazi Germany, for having large amounts of kids. For example, like if a woman had 10 kids, she would get this special like badge, you know, from the government. So yeah, there's similarities in terms of, I mean, if you want to have like a strong authoritarian and you want to have like national programs, it's hard to say, but I think the thing with fascism that I learned when I was on the left is that like the economy is not completely planned. And so there's this crisis that happens economically. Like you can build in your nation for a while, but eventually you kind of have to like start conquering new markets. So that they believe that that's part of why the war happened, World War II, because there was financial unrest happening, and they needed to like grow economically because they did have a capitalist system. But this is just what leftist theorists were telling me, you know. So
okay,
I don't know.
Yeah. So they may have been, but who knows? Okay.
They may have just been like
going overboard with their criticisms or something. But they might be right.
They could be to a certain extent. I mean, capitalism does require growth. You can't like have things remain stagnant in your economy. Eventually it'll like collapse if you do have a stagnant economy. Whereas like in a socialist system, it's just like, I don't know. It's difficult to say because they did have a lot of growth. I mean, but you know, I think there's a lot more similarities between communism and fascism than meets the eye. But I think the main difference is like one's a completely materialist kind of attitude. They don't believe in God or the spiritual realm.
Yeah. The atheists, the communists tend to be more atheist.
Yes.
Well, interesting, TERRI. I'll have to talk with you more another time about this phrase that capitalism requires growth. Interesting. That took me aback.
Did it?
Yeah. Because I think of capitalism as promoting growth, but not necessarily requiring it. It'll collapse if it doesn't, that's interesting. And anyway, we'll talk more another time. Great call.
All right.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye. We're praying for PDX. We wish them well. PDX is short for Portland, by the way. FYI. Let me talk to Jan in Germany on the line over here. Jan, thank you for calling and holding. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Hey, that's very good. Yeah, Jan is correct.
Nice.
I mean, in German we would just say Jan, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Right on.
So, I also wanted to add about communism.
Yes.
Because just the other day I had a thought. I realized something. You know, in the States and also all over the West, there's this left cultural Marxism, right?
Yeah.
But if you compare what we have now to the Bolsheviks, it's actually just communism without the critique of property. So it's the perfect thing for the actual elites, for the people, you know, that own everything, because we can fight amongst each other, but they're not scared. They don't care. Like it's like this is great for them, because if we just hate on each other and like, oh no, the leftists are coming, but there's really no danger to them.
The powers that be, the government, you're saying?
No, the big banks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
What? The big banks were basically because of FDR or Wilson, whoever established the Fed. Is what's with the big banks, and why are they called big banks, and why are they? What's going on? What's the problem? What is it?
All right. So do you want to give me the long story or the short story?
In short.
In short.
Yeah.
Well, basically start with the French Revolution.
Oh.
After the French Revolution, there was the Code of Napoleon. This is where property rights were really put through. After the Code of Napoleon, this is where property was really fixed. Before that, the state and the church still had something to do with it. After that, no one could touch them. That was great for them. Now, the next thing is when the Bank of England was the first private bank. Before that, only the state or the church could print money. All of a sudden, a private person owning a bank could print money. That was also great for them.
Ooh.
By the way, the Federal Reserve is also a private bank.
Yeah, I heard that.
The next amazing step. Yeah. Then the next amazing step was when they got rid of the gold standard. After that, they could just print money the way they wanted it to be. It was not bound to gold anymore. That was amazing.
Okay. And so what's the problem with them?
The problem?
Yeah.
Oh, the problem with them is that the next thing that's coming up, they want to put digital ID in and digital currency.
Yeah.
And after that, they can just control everything.
They can shut you down.
You see how it is in China, right?
I've heard about it a little bit. Yeah, that they rely on like a social credit score, and then they have the mark of the beast, and they cannot buy or sell.
Yeah, exactly. It's and this is what they would like for me and you as well. No matter if it's U.S. or Germany, they would like to have the same thing for us.
You know, that reminds me of so-called gun control, where the government has a registry of the guns and serial numbers, and they can track these guns, and then they can track you down. They know what you own, what's registered in your name, and they can come after you and all kinds of stuff. It's the same thing with like cars and stuff. It's like a clamp down on your freedom and total independence. Huh.
Yeah, I mean we saw this in Canada with the trucker revolts, or also with journalists in Germany, but also in the U.S., where bank accounts just get canceled. You just can't get the money. It's just this already happened, but it's just like case by case. Once it's like once AI can just do it automatically, it's just like, oh, this person talked. Hake has been thinking about things. That's a bit dangerous. I think he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
Let's not give him money anymore. You know.
That's crazy. And you're right. That's already been happening for like at least 10 years since the Obama days, because these banks and PayPal and other companies have clamped down on gun sellers and anything related to firearms, and they've debanked I think even during Trump's term, if I'm not mistaken, they clamped down on Proud Boys and Nick Fuentes and Dick Masterson, and they've done all kinds of things.
We have like equivalent critical journalists in Germany that also have been debanked, or we even have like one dude. Oh, you probably didn't hear of this. This is amazing. You gotta research this one. This is a funny one. This guy's called Ballweg, like ball and then WEG. He was in prison for 9 months. He was like one of the guys who organized the demonstrations during the COVID so-called lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
And they put him in prison because of tax evasion or something. And in the end, he was in prison for 9 months for not declaring 15 euros and 83 cents or something.
Wow.
Something completely ridiculous. It was like this political, political persecution, right? Political persecution.
Wow.
Happening in Germany.
I'm looking it up. I'm not sure. Michael Ballweg. As of July 2025, Querdenken founder Michael Ballweg has not been debanked in Germany, but his bank accounts have been involved in legal issues related to a criminal case in. So technically, but he was effectively.
They confiscated all his money, all his funds, everything.
In July 2025, he was convicted of tax evasion, but acquitted of fraud because because of the 15 euros and such amount of cents?
Yes.
What in the world?
Basically, they were like, oh, you see, there's all these trucks and you're like the big screens and who paid for this and everything, because it was all crowdfunded, right? And then they were like, well, we just convict, like this. We'll find something, right? We'll just make up the crime later. This is like very Marxist kind of deal. But they didn't find anything.
Like what they did
it was all clean.
Wow.
Yep.
Meta deleted nearly 150 accounts associated with the Querdenken movement. How do you pronounce that? Querdenken?
Yeah. Querdenken. It's basically, cool. It means like quer means like quer means like crisscross basically, and denken is thinking, so it means like thinking for yourself. Like you're not thinking with the crowd, but you're like thinking for yourself. And the funny thing is, before the COVID times, this had a positive connotation. It was like, oh, this person knows how to think for themselves.
Right.
But during the lockdown times, it actually became a term to denounce people. It was like
stop that thinking for yourself.
Yeah, like this guy is thinking for himself.
Listen to the experts, Mr. Thinking for Yourself person.
Exactly. Listen, trust the experts. Take that poison now.
Wow.
In Germany, Germany's like all famous for their sausages and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They actually gave people like fries and sausage if they got themselves vaxxed. Like this, I'm not making this up.
Wow.
Like they did this. Like you imagine there's like town square and they just set up a tent or something with like free fries and sausage. Oh, you get a sausage if you vax yourself. You can't make the shit up, man. And the Germans did it. This is crazy.
That is crazy. In America, you may have heard. Which company was that? The donut company. Krispy Kreme. Yeah, Krispy Kreme Donuts was giving away, real healthy, right? Real good for you. Was giving away a free donut to anybody who got a vaccine.
Oh my God! Crazy. This is American. Look, this. I mean,
we're already
just
too
the
fat.
Same, just a different variant.
Yeah. What a mess. Interesting call, Jan.
Yeah,
I
we
appreciate
don't.
that.
Well, I also appreciate talking to you.
Well, call me again, man. Oh, by the way, how are you calling? You have international calling or something?
Oh yeah. No, look. Wait for all the. Well, I'll look it up again for all the other German people. how's the thing called? This thing is like called duality.com, but it's like for Germans. Basically, it's like a service where you can set it up, and then I call a number in Berlin, and they actually forward me to America for like a cheap price.
Oh, nice. Right on, man. Shout out to the Germans.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate that.
And shout out to fake news, not the fake news.
Thanks, man.
You white. Okay, I'm just joking around. All right, have a good one.
All right, you as well. Let me get to, in the last, we're nearing the top of the hour here. In the last few minutes of this first hour, let me get to Jermaine in Canada. Jermaine, thank you for calling, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Hey.
How are you, Hig?
Doing fine as well.
Nice. So, before I get to my main point there real quick, you saw that news about Ilhan Omar?
Ilhan Omar, what's the news with her?
She might get kicked out of her position there. I think she's in Congress too.
She is. She's a member of Congress. She came here as a so-called refugee. She was Somalian, but had been staying as a refugee in Kenya. We brought her here at the age of like 12 or 13, and she hasn't left yet, and she's overstayed her welcome as a Democrat female congressman from Minnesota, I think.
Yeah.
So she might get kicked out of her position as a member of Congress?
Yes.
Oh, because she said some nasty things, huh? Wait, how are they going to kick her out?
I didn't even fully dive in the story.
Okay.
I can't give you the full details on that. But yeah. It's just a tip there. I have to look fully dive into myself.
House Republicans help Democrats quash Nancy Mace's rogue Ilhan Omar censure. Oh, Lord. Rhinos. So I guess Nancy Mace wanted to censure her. Okay, so they were going to censure her, which is 4 Republicans got dragged as traitors by conservatives after voting with the Democrats to protect Ilhan Omar. Interesting. So these are the 4 rhinos, I guess. I'm not sure. They look kind of like rhino-ish. Oh, wow. But I don't know if censoring is necessarily going to kick them out. It might or might not. But I think censoring is just putting her in trouble, saying, you're in trouble, young lady, type of thing.
No, Trump talked about it, but like I said, I haven't fully dived into it, so I can't give you the specific details.
Right. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So, my other story. This one is a doozy. So, an Australian comedian based, he said, his name is, his name is slipping me, Andrew Ilton. So this guy they're considering based, but he says, Jeff Bezos, he doesn't do his laundry. What's that guy? Zuckerberg. Yeah, Zuckerberg. He doesn't mow his lawn. Elon Musk, he doesn't cook. So he give all these examples of these rich people that don't do chores. They kind of pay people to do it for them. And then he went on and say, listen, I pay a guy to go to my house at nighttime when I'm not around because I'm too busy making money so he can sleep with my wife. I'm like, what?
Wow, what a mess.
It is a mess. I'm like, he's a comedian, so I'm like, this guy probably be joking. But he's for real about it.
What's the guy? Well, I don't know if I want to say the guy's name, actually. So is that real, though?
Yeah, it's real, because I looked it up. I'm like,
well, he said it. It's real that he said it, but he got to be joking.
No.
You don't think he's joking?
It might be, because I looked it up. I'm
That's
like,
not something to joke about.
But he says he confessed to doing this act, right?
Okay.
Like, this guy is crazy. So I had to look it up, and from what I see, allegedly, it's his word for word, and he means it.
Man, what a mess.
Yeah.
And
it is a mess.
I can't find it offhand.
Sydney comedian.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, that has become like a growing sort of a perversion, I think, from what I hear, that people are into that. So that's a mess. I don't know. That's terrible, man. It's a sick world, Jermaine. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah, it's a sick world. I wouldn't be surprised if it, I don't know the person himself, the individual that you're talking about specifically, but there are people who are nasty like that, and it's a shame. What a mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People are into all kinds of perversions. So, nice.
Yeah. There's also this big story in Canada. It's popular now. It happened 3 months ago.
Uh-huh.
Of this lady. Her name is Rachel Todd. She's 34. And she abandoned her 3-year-old daughter. And they found her like 7 days after. If I might be wrong on how long it took to find her. But what happened was she abandoned the kid. Then she alerted the police and the authority. And then a day after, they arrested her because what they found on her phone was like disturbing. I mean, it's not disturbing to me, but it was kind of funny because she was looking up urns and she was looking up funeral arrangement before she had lost her daughter. So it seems like she was setting up herself to, get rid of her, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then now she was in court and they were saying they might not charge her on the child abandonment issue because she's mentally ill.
I would say so, but that's not a reason not to charge her. That's it's irrelevant to the charges, I say. In the world.
Yeah, and so they had her at a psychiatric facility in Montreal, and they were evaluating her to see if they're going to charge her on that or not. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Mental illness is just an excuse.
Right. It's no.
And
yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was saying it's no excuse.
Yeah. And they wanted to, like, release her to the public. I'm like, that's kind of crazy, right?
That is really crazy.
I'm going to go do the same thing again.
There was a guy yesterday on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. We played this story of this guy who was driving. He carjacked a woman, I think, and he was naked and driving here in like California somewhere, or somewhere back on this side of town. And then later, he cut the head off of a guy in another state who was a motel coworker or manager or something.
I saw that.
He should have been in prison for life for carjacking a gal naked. Like that's an insane, evil person.
I mean, but you live in California, right? So
well, this is America. Yeah, that is true. That's true. What a mess.
And they blame it on, you notice the trend, mental illness.
Yeah.
Just like the guy that stabbed the girl on the train. It's crazy.
They play like these guys because there's a lot of so-called mentally ill people who are abused, if you will, right? If you'll pardon my use of that term. They get abused, so they think of all mentally ill people as victims. So then they say, oh, you don't send a violent criminal to prison for life just because he's mentally ill. It's insane. They're casting criminals who are mentally ill as victims, and they're not. Victims are the worst people because they think of themselves as victims and they become perpetrators.
Yeah, they're the worst type of people.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and just one little thing more on the female that lost her daughter. When she was in court, she was smiling, laughing, crying, angry, and frustrated.
Wow.
In court, that's what they described.
That's how they described her? No, stay away from that gal. Stay away from that.
She's crazy.
What a shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jermaine. Thank you for the news tips. Interesting. Powerful.
All
Crazy.
right, man. We'll chat. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. All right. Okay, some super chats, everybody. If you mosey on over to, you don't have to do this, but if I mosey on over, close some tabs here. Mosey on over to buymeacoffee.com / the Hake Report. Gregatron states, I want to say happy 56th birthday to the homie, Rick. I wish Rick could sit at a table and just talk like how Thomas Sowell does. I could listen to him talk all day. Shout out to Rick. Nice. Shout out Rick. Thank you, Gregatron. Much obliged. Thanks for the coffee, too. Popcorns, Thump Cake, I wanted to highlight something you've said a few times on your show in one form or another, which is the idea you shouldn't read into or assign meaning to something people say beyond what they actually say. As an example, you said that when I or others listen to your caller Mark, we are trying to get into his head and determine what he really means outside of the words that he actually said. I grant you that may be the case, but I'd like to point out that doing so has validity, and you yourself have done it many times. The most plain example I can give you is the "if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon" comment from Obama. You've mentioned it over the years. If you put a picture of Trayvon Martin next to the picture of Obama, you could see it's not a stretch to suggest that he looks like he could be his son. But you ran with the comment and said, oh, he's making this about race, etc. In other words, assigning meaning beyond what was said. But why else would he say it? Anyway, but Popcorn probably agrees with me that it has validity in that instance, because why else would you? What's the purpose of saying it except to pretend identifying with the victim, with the so-called victim, which he was actually a perpetrator, not a victim. So there are times where you think it's okay to read between the lines, or is your stance always just to hear the words and not assign a deeper meaning beyond what's said? Let me guess, everybody knows what he meant, or are you pretending like you don't know what he meant, laughing out loud? So is it okay to read between the lines? Asks Popcorn. Well, clearly Obama was doing that for that reason, because there's no purpose of saying, if I had a son, he would look like this thug who was killed in self-defense. And the cops knew that he was killed in self-defense. That's why they didn't charge George Zimmerman. I like to listen not just to the words, but to the spirit of the people. And the spirit of Obama was evil, prideful, arrogant, dismissive, haughty is prideful, vindictive, nasty, hateful. Obama is an evil person. So everything that he said was calculated to provoke hatred from blacks towards whites, from liberals towards conservatives, to get one over to tick off the conservatives. He was a good troll. Good meaning evil, troll. Kind of like Satan. Yeah, so I like to read the spirit. Because everybody knows, you can detect a phony person. Or can you? I don't know. Maybe if you agree with the phony person, you could fall for what they're saying for a bit. Ted Cruz, I really liked him at one point and wanted him to be president because I thought that's all you could get. That's the best we can get is Ted Cruz. He's conservative, strong. It wasn't that strong. Kind of phony, actually. Contrived. And it became so obvious when next to Trump. Real, genuine, speaking from the heart. Ted Cruz is basically like an Obama, except that he's for actual Christianity and, stuff like that, and normal conservative pro-America type of a thing. But he's basically the same spirit as Obama. Angry, prideful in his mind, a simp for his wife. And shout out to Ted Cruz. I still really like him. And I like Obama too. He's probably good at basketball and he's, smooth or something. But he's an evil, nasty, vindictive person. So there's like callers who call in and some of them are genuine, some of them are normal. Others you can hear the ulterior motive. You don't just have, it's not just the words. So I don't know. I think you're just, blind. Don't know how to read. Don't know how to quote unquote read between the lines. It's kind of like what people read about the word was God. That means Jesus was the word and Jesus is God type of stuff. People assign all kinds of meaning beyond, and my words may not even mean what you think it means, so you're a words guy, overcome words, popcorn, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? You probably don't. But yes, I do, tennis shoe. Yeah, because like Mark, for example, because Mark does enjoy ticking you guys off. He has admitted as such. And that's really immature and wrong of him. It's the same evil heart that you guys have, you guys who hate him. Mark, my caller from Los Angeles. But Mark is, Mark says stuff that's just saying, like he refers to blacks as Negroes, right? But I never have thought of it as he's trying to tick you guys off or get under your skin by saying that. I think that's just his vernacular. But you guys are assigning him as trying to tick people off. Where in other places I think he is, but I never read that into it. Maybe I'm just naive. But I think it's best to suspend judgment. Don't necessarily listen to your suspicions. Nice. Okay. So, but interesting, popcorn stumpcake. I appreciate that, man. Ronnie in Ohio bought a coffee. Studies show 40% of prisoners were raised by single parents, 70% read at or below a 4th grade level. I understand your perspective about, I haven't heard 40%. I heard that it was way higher than that. I don't know. But anyway, I understand your perspective about defund single moms as a way or perhaps the best way to improve things. And I still stand on the side of literacy being a more pertinent issue. They are both issues and contributing factors to some or most of the mess going on in this country. We can peacefully disagree on this. It's still love my brother, says Ronnie from Ohio, and I appreciate your perspective. Dark black arm emoji. And then white, strong arm emoji, but with a nice tan, like sort of a little bit tanner than my arm. Maybe on the other side it's this tan. I'm doing my strong army real life thing. Yeah, it is. Hey, look at me, I'm Italian. Oh no, I'm Irish. Doing the hands, the old school Irish boxer, fighting Irish motif. Ronnie in Ohio, I accused him of being a communist or at least a useful idiot, brainwashed by communism. Useful idiot is a technical term. Correlation is not causation. I don't see if one day perhaps you could explain to me in 30 seconds or less how not being able to read contributes to being a criminal. Because correlation is not causation. To quote the intellectuals. A lot of people don't know how to read and they're in the olden days, right? And they didn't make them didn't make them more moral or more physically moral, because committing physical crimes and going to prison, I don't know, man. I don't buy that statistic, but I don't feel like looking it up. Studies show 40% of prisoners were raised by single parents, 70% read at or below 4th grade level. And 4th grade is plenty high, by the way. Single mothers are worse than single fathers. They raise more thugs per capita. But the single mothers thing, I was thinking about our conversation, sir, and then I'll get to your calls. Take a few notes just to get my bearings, though. Coffees, right? Happy birthday, Rick. Popcorn. Let me do a quick review. Popcorn, reading between the lines on Mark and Obama. And Ronnie. Coffee from Ronnie. On being a okay, I'm on defunding single moms. Would help actually improve literacy, because you're not enabling them to be trifling single parents. You get more of what you fund. But anyway, reading is not an issue, I don't think. Reading or not reading, it's like, it's a correlation, man. You're acting like correlation is causation. I don't buy it. Because you can definitely, but the fact that you're in America and you don't know how to read, that shows you had bad parents, I think, usually. Or you had angry parents who made you so distracted and into your head that you couldn't hunker down and learn to read. But 4th grade level is fine. 4th grade level is what people understand. A 5th grade level is what politicians speak. They speak in a 5th grade level. Maybe a little bit higher, like Ted Cruz might speak at like an 8th grade level, which is too hoity-toity. Trump speaks and communicates in a simple fashion so that everybody can understand. Although he's very smart, he speaks in a simple way that everybody can understand, maybe at like a 4th grade level. And so people think he's stupid, but he's actually brilliant because he's communicating very well with people and clearly with people. So communicating simply is a good thing. But the defunding of the single mothers is a representation of getting rid of all of these rewards for doing wrong, for not living your life right. Because all these safety nets and things like that, welfare, and as beautiful Brandy from Hawaii said, that thing where the men have to pay so-called child support when they leave because they can't stand the woman or the woman gets rid of them or whatever. Funding the mothers of these children, the fathers being forced to fund the mothers of these children and not hardly being in their lives, it's a huge mess. It's not a good situation. But it's a representation of like the spirit, because the spirit of the parents is passed down to the kids. And they're like so evil kids. So I don't think reading is the issue, Ronnie. Rex bought a coffee. Hey, you got to play that AI country song again. It cracked me up. Oh, thank you, Rex. That's a nice suggestion and request. I appreciate that. Very nice. Cesar, sup, Hake? I do love me a nice burger with blue cheese on it. The blue cheeseburgers, sometimes they're a bit much for my taste, but I do appreciate that too. That's the only way I prefer to eat it. Drooling emoji, laughing, I think smiling or something. Question for Brandy from Hawaii, and I hope she'll answer it. How did you connect Kirk's death to the Bible verse? Did you hear about the timing of his death and you searched through the Bible to find a correlation, a 12:23 verse? Or did she hear it on the internet from somebody else? I'm asking. I plugged that in there. I can't lie, Hake. I thought Israelis being behind Kirk's shooting was just noise last week. But Nick, Tucker, and Candace are all stating that it's true with evidence to prove it. Shocked emoji. No, man, I don't buy that. Without even seeing anything that they're saying. And I don't even think that that's actually true. And why are you listening to Candace, period? I mean, break. But anyway, he's a sick emoji. I just seen, he's Hispanic. I just seen a black guy pushing a stroller by himself. Be safe, everyone. Strong tan arm emoji. Dark tan. Like a black Hispanic. Light skin black Hispanic maybe. And tan thanks hands emoji. Thank you, Cesar or Cesar. Much appreciated, sir. There was somebody in the Rumble rants the other day talking about, oh, you gonna talk about how Ben Shapiro or somebody is trying to take over TPUSA? I have never cared about TPUSA. I've never been influenced by them, affected by them at all. I have spoken about them a little bit because of how they had that gay black guy pushing liberalism and Obama type stuff and getting rid of don't ask, don't tell and all that mess. But other than that, even that itself, I don't care. I get that they're like big and influential and stuff and whatever, but so what? Okay, thank you guys for your support. Let me double check over on the Rumble rants, and then I'll get back to your calls and some stories. If I mosey on over to the Rumble crew, thank you, Slave to Him, Old Saucy, Buddy 1205, and the rest over there. Thanks again to Pork Chop Express. I read his Rumble rant. Thank you, Rimfire, for the guest request. Hadn't heard of that person, but I shall screenshot it, and perhaps I will come across my screenshot. He recommended some young conservative black dude. Good people. Thank you, Rimfire. I would like to double check over on the punchy.tv. Good morning, Jim in Alaska. Nicole, nice to see you. What's up, Punto King? Says Marxism can be seen as a subtype of communism. Similarly, socialism is an in-between phase leading to communism, says he. I suspect that communism and capitalism may be two sides of the same coin, says David. Yeah, communism uses capitalism. Capitalism is a tool used for good or evil, and communism is a tool using evil human nature for power, exploiting the evil of human nature for power, whereas capitalism uses the laws of nature and nature's God for good or evil. Hey, Animus on Streamlabs. Hey, Charlie Kirk was wrong for talking to the leftist university students because they decided their fate already by trusting the current system. Furthermore, I wish that his wife will take care of her kids first instead of leading. Change my mind, says Animus. Change my mind. That's somebody else. You mean prove me wrong? Prove me wrong is Charlie Kirk's thing. Change my mind is that other guy's thing, right? I think. I don't know, man. Because it was basically a conservative club kind of thing. And college is a place for debate and free exchange of ideas, supposedly. I don't know. Some might have called it lowbrow. My one of my favorite guys, who's a journalist, thought of it as lowbrow, sir. I did see a tip from Big Bump Animus that that Erika Kirk is elected CEO of something like that. Erika Kirk. Sorry guys, I'm trying to Turning Point USA. Oh, come on. Turning Point USA elects Erika, Erika. I'm not trying to go to your website, Fox News. Kirk as new CEO.
Tide
The
booster
world.
test. Makeup ruining your fit?
Yes. As CEO and chair of the board following Charlie Kirk's assassination, I guess. Charlie Kirk's widow. The Bible says not to call a young woman a widow. But anyway, to take the, she's not that young. She's 36 years old. She was older, right? Isn't she older than Charlie Kirk? Erika Kirk age. I think she's a few years, 36. And he was 31. So about roughly 4 or 5 years older than him. She was born in, what, 88 or something? And he is protected from editing until the 20th of September. So I wonder if it's going to mention the TPUSA CEO. Oh, wow. So they're not even messing with it. I wonder why they're protecting it until a couple of days from now. Currently protected from editing until the 20th, or until disputes have been resolved. This protection is not an endorsement of the current version. They're protecting it on Wikipedia, far left Wikipedia. Her maiden name was Franzwe. At least she didn't call herself Erika Franzwe Kirk. She called herself Erika Lane Kirk, her maiden name. I mean, her middle name, real middle name. She was born Erika Lane Franzwe, and now she's Erika Lane Kirk. I saw this clip of Charlie Kirk saying his wife is much more conservative than him. And she became even more conservative after having kids. And she's like, I didn't even think that was possible. But, yeah, see, Big Bump, Jesse Lee Peterson, and all of them are right. This woman is trying to be leader. Let's see if I can zoom in. There we go. Maybe I will click on this. It's going to be obnoxious, but yeah, following Kirk's assassination, we will carry on following his murder. What a mess, huh? Terrible. Simps. Charlie prepared for... Let me see if I can zoom in on this. TPUSA announced, Turning Point USA announced Thursday, it unanimously elected Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika Kirk, as new CEO and chair of the board of the organization. In prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death. Simp. The organization stated in a post on X, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed September 10th, speaking at an event in Utah Valley University. It was the honor of our lives to serve as board members at Charlie's side. Their current board stated in a statement released today, Thursday. Charlie prepared all of us for a moment like this one. He worked tirelessly to ensure that his organization was built to survive even the greatest tests, and now it's our great pride to announce Erika Kirk as new CEO and chair of the board for TPUSA. Zoom out just a touch so I can see that full picture. There she is. All of us at Turning Point USA we have a special, it's supposed to be we all at Turning Point USA have a special role, because we have, not us have, a special role in carrying Charlie Kirk's mantle and completing his vision, blah, 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 blah. Oh, bringing us all closer to our Lord. Turning point, kind of like repentance. And fostering a prosperous country for generations to come. As Charlie always said, we have a country to save. Will not surrender or kneel before evil. You'll kneel before the woman. You're already doing it. We will carry on the attempt to destroy Charlie's work. Will become our chance to make it more powerful and enduring than ever before. That's what she claimed that she wanted to do, or she was going to do. May God bless Erika, the Kirk family, and she has 3 little kids, right? Or 2. And the entire team, a girl first and then a boy. Entire team at TPUSA. Terrible. That's the day he was killed, right? That's the same footage or picture. Just prior to the assassination itself. The memorial service scheduled for Sunday the 21st. That's this Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Yeah, that's right, because Lola's Tacos or whatever. Lola, or not Lola, but whatever, the woman who runs Lola was like celebrating that he's gone or something like that, and said, what, excited for the next one to get taken down, or something dumb, evil like that. Allegedly. According to what I saw on social media. President Donald J. Trump, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and other prominent figures slated to speak at the event. May Charlie... See, this is her where she spoke with that blue-purple light in the background, and Charlie's empty chair, and she's there. And it says, May Charlie be received into the merciful arms of Jesus, our loving Savior. What a mess, huh? Crazy how easy he went. I mean, you get, anybody would go that easy when that happens to your body. Charlie Kirk's life was a testament to faith, courage, and conviction. A website for the event stated, from his earliest days, he believed America was worth fighting for, dedicated every moment of his 31 years to the cause, lived with his eyes fixed on eternity, grounded in the truth of God's word, driven by a calling bigger than himself. Reports, or quotes, quoted and written by Alex Nitzberg, who contributed, and the person who wrote this article, Greg Norman of Fox News. Thank you for the update. Big bump. And where was I about that? Israel wouldn't do that. I mean, Bibi certainly wouldn't do that, I don't think. Based Bibi. Okay. Nice. Whoa! Thank you guys for the support. Let me just refresh one quick last time. Make sure you do catch the anchor baby. Sup, Cesar or Cesar? Much appreciated. Yeah, that gal. Yeah, if you look into the assassination of Charlie Kirk on Wikipedia, it states 12:23 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Mountain Time, which is Utah time. Brandy. Pardon me. Okay, thank you guys. Let me set the redirect to American Anchor Baby. I don't think I've done that yet. And then I shall get to your calls. Yeah, communism and capitalism are not opposites. Christianity and communism are supposed to be whatever. I say communism for evil human nature, basically. Intellectualism. So let me get to Diego, a first-time caller in California. Diego, thanks for calling and holding. Go for it.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing well, thank you.
All righty. Hey, so I'm going through a breakup with my girlfriend. We were together for about 18 months.
Oh, okay.
And
how old are you?
I'm 22.
How old was she, or is?
She's 22 as well, same age.
Nice.
I'm like a month older than her. We met in middle school, but we actually just started dating about a year ago. I had gotten really close to her family. Her family is very traditional, like very Christian. They actually invited me to this Harvest Church in Riverside, and I've been going, but honestly, like the past year and a half, like 18 months, I want to say that like I was just going through the motions and not really like prioritizing like God. Like we didn't really have like a God-centered relationship. So that essentially caused us to like get into a lot of like fights because she was in a previous relationship before me, and that was her first love, and she actually like constructed a wooden box of like memories and trinkets, and like I couldn't overcome that. Like that bothered me, the fact that there was like this kind of presence of that guy there, and like
whoa,
like I was just like, oh, this is like, I don't know, like it didn't sit comfortable with me. So I don't know, there was this event in January this year where I kind of found like pictures on her phone, and she like blatantly lied to me about it. I asked her about it, and like from there, basically like I resented her. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like yes, this with your ex, this with your ex that, blah blah blah. And so it got to a point where it was so persistent, where she ultimately gave me an ultimatum. She said, hey, you need to start treating me well, or like, it's over. And so I started treating her well. Everything was going fine. And things were just like the beginning. And then I fell into temptation, into lust, where I was watching a girl, on Instagram Live, showing explicit things, and she found out about it, and she said, you know what, you broke up with me, it's over, and we're done. And so me, like, following the breakup, that was kind of like my wake-up call, like, okay, now I have to go to Bible study, now I have to, like, repent of what I did, and, like, genuinely, like, walk in the way, like, Christ intended to. So I've been going to a lot of Bible studies and just actually reading the Bible and actually going to church and learning from everything. But I guess the reason why I called you today is just to kind of ask for guidance, because like I feel at fault. Like I take accountability for what I did. I shouldn't have been doing those things, but I feel like I really created something like strong with her and her family, and like I feel like I destroyed it all, and I want to rekindle things, but I don't really know how to go about it.
I don't think that you should try to get her back.
Okay.
And just because they go to church and you were going to church and stuff like that, that doesn't mean that they were godly or you were godly or anything. Any intention of being God-centered is like it's kind of poisoned already.
I hear ya. Yeah.
A lot of guys I know have gone to church because of women. And some of them have become pastors, and they're just following the woman really, the whole way through.
Interesting.
And they're kind of lying to themselves that it's about God, and then you are not really aware of your intentions and of what you're doing and stuff like that.
Okay.
The fact that she had a little display for her ex-boyfriend, that's insane, it sounds like. And I get that you shouldn't be jealous. Right, you shouldn't be jealous. You shouldn't feel anything about it. But that is insane. And just because, a lot of gays will get together and they'll make all these connections, and they think that it's about love. They feel all this love for themselves. The guy who killed the Charlie Kirk allegedly, he was purportedly with a guy who was transitioning into being a wannabe woman, so-called transgender, and he had all these feelings, and they have all these reasons and connections and life things and practical things that they put together, in addition with their fantasy of love, of what they think love is. And that's what happens to all relationships, whether Christian or not Christian, want to be God-centered or don't care about God. They all build up something strong, and then they think that they want it back when it's gone. But you don't actually know that you want it back. You just got this idea in your head, and you got this emotional want for her, and you don't need her. You're actually fine. I say that's my advice. She did you a favor. She's not a good person. You're not a good person. Whatever, and be glad. Yes,
sir.
She has no room to judge you just because you're lustful for the IG girls or whatever happened, because she has that little thing emotional, because women are emotional lust, right? She had that emotional lust for her ex-boyfriend. What in the world is she judging?
Right.
You guys are you guys are 22. Just be normal. Let it go. I recommend and I've heard it recommended. Wise men have said, don't get back together with an ex. Because she treated you like that already. She'll do it again. And you have a need for her. You would jump at the chance if she were to contact you again and want to get back together.
Right. Right.
She's your God. It's not all this God-centered stuff. You know, all this.
Yeah.
She's a false idol.
Right.
Yeah, and males. The woman is the man's God, false God, of course.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought about idolatry as well, and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And you can't solve it yourself, but don't deny it.
Right. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Hake.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling. That was a fun call, Diego. I like this type of conversation.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Hake.
I wish you well, man. Right? Do what you want, of course.
Yeah.
And you're living your life. Take everything that Hake says with a grain of salt. Don't come blaming me when... Anyway.
No, it's okay. All right. You take care.
All right, man. Call me again sometime if you like.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You got it.
Bye.
All righty. All right. Bye-bye.
Anthony in SoCal on the line over here. Anthony, what's up, man?
Hey, Hake. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. You know, I was R.I.P. Charlie, man. It was a bummer seeing that happen. And I was listening to Nick's show recently, and I guess I'll comment about that.
Anchor Baby?
You know, I'll try. Yeah, I'll try to call in today and comment on that. Seems like he has a discussion going about it. But you know, I was watching Punchy yesterday, and you know that clip. I don't know what you think about this, but it kind of seemed like they were trying to romanticize it and show that like evil is okay because they're just normal people, just like everyone else, quote unquote normal. Like it seemed like they were trying to fit it into this narrative or into this archetype you see a lot in certain types of movies, you know, with like it's like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing, you know.
You're referring to the killer's romance with his alleged killer's romance with his roommate. Is that the thing? The
Yeah.
romance you're talking about?
Yeah, more so the reporting on it, or
Yeah.
the media's framing of it.
That ABC reporter or CBS or whatever that reporter was.
Yeah, dude, that was bizarre, man. That was bizarre.
Yeah.
I was like, is this an Onion clip or something? You remember the Onion?
I do. Back in the olden days, they used to be pretty funny, and I forget what the word is, but here it is right now. Here it is.
With such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who was transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
What a mess, huh? These sick people, they have the same emotional false notion of love and tenderness as the killer, and as people in general. My prior caller even kind of, maybe. Probably.
Yeah, no, you're right. I thought Derek was kind of spot on when he said, he's playing 5D chess, but it was more in the sense of like subverting the actual evil and making it more emotionally palpable to the general public. That was kind of like how I interpreted that. Because it's like it's like a way to rationalize something like that. That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's okay,
Whereas the manly evil are heartless and cold and Nazi, right?
Exactly.
Like Trump.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, it's catering to this beta audience where they have these desires to do evil, and it's kind of a way to like, I hate to say this, but it kind of bridges that duality, that duality, Hake. It bridges the duality in them between their desire to do evil and their desire to like be normal people. And they're kind of just showing you that, hey, you know what? You can be evil and normal, and we're cool with that. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like you can see it being turned into a movie, because nowadays they like to make morally ambiguous movies. I say nowadays, the past several decades, even in the 70s and the 80s was all good versus evil, just plain normal, I guess. But anyway, it was all, they love that casting evil people as complicated, which evil people are complicated.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, dude. You're gonna see some ambiguous media referencing the beauty of whatever this guy just did.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre world, man. The other thing I was gonna ask, I don't know if it was rhetorical, but I just want to comment on it. You asked yesterday, or maybe the day before. Do you guys think there is a genocide in Gaza?
Right.
Was that rhetorical or
not at all?
curious?
I really wanted to know what people think, because I don't know if any of my audience are calling it genocide, because I openly mock the notion that it's genocide. I think of genocide as a liberal word. I mean, unless you're going to say the whites are under a genocide, then I'm like, okay, fine. But still, it's like an emotional word that gets people, it's just meant to get a reaction to make somebody want to do something about it. And so they're calling it that just to demonize based BB. And I'm not sure that that's valid.
No, I think you're right. Like I told you before, I watch like Arabic news outlets from the Middle East, just to see, what's going on in their news fears, what kind of rhetoric they're displaying and how that affects, certain groups in America. And recently, they opened a new restaurant in Gaza, and they were advertising it and trying to get it, draw attention to it. This is a really niche news outlet that reports in parts of Syria and Egypt, and they cover Gaza's news and stuff. So, there's a thriving economy over there. I don't know.
Wow. In Gaza?
Genocide. Yeah, dude.
Huh.
It's, the reporting on, I don't know.
Even during the wartime.
100%. 100%. Wow. Stores are open. People are buying, selling.
But I heard they were starving.
Dude, you know what? That's, if they're starving, I don't know why they're opening up restaurants and advertising for it, and you're not seeing a single
maybe it's
bit
certain
of that
parts
in American media.
Gaza's pretty big, right? There's got to be certain parts that are starving and then certain parts that are doing all right, right?
Well, yeah, you're right, Haken. I'll tell you something. Anyone, and I've sent you a few news clips. I know you won't air them because they're pretty, I don't know, it's kind of dark, but
yeah.
Anyone still left in Gaza, in the part that's currently like a war zone,
such as Gaza City,
or the West Bank.
Okay.
These desired geographical regions in there. The people still there have one goal and one goal only, and it's to raise the last caliphate, which is meant to be in Gaza. And that's going to be like, in their world, that's like, once they get Gaza occupied, then they're going to expand out in the whole world, basically.
Oh.
So that's kind of like their stronghold, and I send you news clips of like, they have a Mickey Mouse character teaching kids how to, load weapons, fight Israelis. So whenever you hear kids are starving, they're killing kids, they're killing child soldiers that are trained to kill. Whether or not, you think that's good or bad, the reality is these are a warring population that Israel has to deal with. And that's just the reality of it. It's really sad. It's bizarre. But if you do look at Arab news media, you'll notice that's their goal. And I was chatting with some old college friends. We're in a group chat, and they're talking about the genocide or the starving kids. And I asked them, why doesn't Qatar, a Muslim country, one of the richest, wealthiest countries in the world, do anything about that?
Yeah, they're just trying to broker peace, but they're not. I'm not sure if they're sending food or I think it's the do-gooder countries that are Christian that are sending the food or whatever. I don't know.
You're right. And Qatar knows what's up. They know that if they do anything, they support anyone in that region, any of the groups in the West Bank, their goal is chaos. And Qatar is obviously, they want civility, they want diplomacy, so I don't know why the wealthiest country in the world doesn't just feed everyone and their mother over there. Maybe it's because, they're not fighting for the right reasons. They're fighting for the death of Qatar. They're fighting for the death of Syria. They're fighting for the death of Egypt and the death of the West, ultimately. It's bizarre. Americans, I know they won't understand it because it's a totally different worldview and paradigm. But if you're from the Middle East, you'd have a better idea of those kind of social dynamics. That's all. Last thing I want to say, TERRI brought up the Antifa militants training in Syria. You know what that reminded me of? I sent you a news clip. Obama was deporting Venezuelan gangs in 2013. Do you know where he deported them to?
No.
He deported them to Syria, dude.
Oh, man. Hey, I got to get out of here. The rest of the call. Nice talking with you, Anthony. I appreciate it, man. Take care.
Likewise. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. The rest of the callers, Rick and Alex, peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Take care. American Anchor, baby. Coming up next. Bye.